Have you ever smiled on the outside, but on the inside, you were just screaming? What if that war that you're fighting really isn't out there? It's just in your mind. Well, my guest today is going to tackle that thought. She's all about mastering your thoughts and turning your deepest pain into your greatest power. So today's episode is with Andrea Chaney. Andrea is a transformational speaker, she's an author, and she's the founder of a teen nonprofit in Philadelphia. Through her signature message, she's also written some books. One of them is called Breaking the Silence: How to Rise. She empowers women, teens, and communities to turn their pain into preparation and purpose. I love that. A survivor and mental health advocate, her story of resilience has become a blueprint for healing, for growth, and for self empowerment. I love that message. Her work blends the raw truth with some practical tools to help people rebuild their confidence and to set boundaries and to reclaim their voice. Welcome to Success Through Connections, Andrea.
Yes, thank you so much. What a great introduction. Thank you so much for having me. I am very excited to be here.
Well,
Let's
I
dive.
am too. I met Andrea on the stage where she was sharing the stage with none other than the famous Les Brown and a few other people, but she really stood out to me. And so I sought her out and said, I've got to have you on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much. It was such an amazing experience, and I'm honored to be here. Yes.
And I'm honored to have you here as well. So I'm going to just dive right in and ask you. So you said that if you don't master your mind, it will master you. So what
Mm.
does mastering your mind actually look like in everyday life?
Wow, that's a powerful question. When I think about mastering your mind or it will master you, it really has to do with the ability to dive deep in self and one, taking the time to become self aware. When you take the time and opportunity to become self aware, you begin to better understand yourself. And that process can start very simple with sitting in stillness, really taking the time to eliminate as much noise as possible and any distraction, cell phones, emails, even taking time away from the family and not taking time away literally, but just taking a deep breath and being with yourself. Because so many times when we are experiencing things, it's really in our mind. One of the things that I learned is that we do not necessarily experience reality. We experience our nervous system. And because of that, when things are happening, it is being funneled through that nervous system into some degree compared to a past experience. And based on what that past experience was, determines how someone reacts. And many times, the way we react and the feedback we give is really based on that past experience, thought, or feeling, as opposed to being in the present moment. But the more we work to become self aware of what our triggers are, where our vulnerabilities are, the areas that we still need to work on, it is then that we can begin to master our mind. And with mastering our mind, we can reassure ourselves that we are safe, that what we're currently feeling is real, but it could very well be deeply connected to an event from the past, which can somewhat distort reality.
Absolutely. I love how you said to sit in silence. I know that I had to learn to master that because, we're also multitask oriented, it seems. And it's just hard to sit still. But I've learned to train myself to first thing in the morning, sit still on the patio with that cup of coffee and do nothing but just gratitude or just sit there and stare. Just quiet the mind, quiet the mind.
Yes. How you
And that's
start your day, definitely, it really sets the tone for how we end your day. Even though we may not view it that way, just it's powerful. It's very powerful to sit in stillness.
It is. And it's like when you were saying, it's like a lot of the things, they aren't really reality. It's like they're in your mind. You think this is what someone else is thinking or doing or saying or what's going to happen or whatever. And you couldn't be further from the truth.
I love that. I love
Like,
it.
yeah. So you also said that many people appear to be, well, people appear to be strong on the outside. We all put up this little fake facade and you don't know what battles are going on the inside. So, how can someone begin to confront those inner wars?
That's a great question. When it as it pertains to someone being able to confront the inner wars, it really goes back to understanding what are you carrying that no longer serves you. See, a lot of times upbringing contributes to the way we become big people. So as a little person, what you received or didn't receive translates over into your adult life, and it really drives the car for how you navigate. So when it comes to your ability to confront those things, you have to really look at your belief system. Does this system, even though I was raised by whatever individual, does this system necessarily serve me? Does this system benefit the person I'm becoming? Does this system help my wounds to heal, or does it widen my wounds? And when you're able to really peel back the layers one at a time, you will understand that sometimes you'll cry and sometimes you won't. And what happens is when people are pulling the layers back, when they get that moment, that spell where they're crying, they put it back up, and that doesn't help you confront it. You have to be willing to sit with that burning sensation. You have to be willing to sit in that frustration and that mess and literally face it head on. So if your body is communicating some sort of nervousness, some sort of anxiety, some sort of fear, most people run from it when they should run toward it. And when you run toward it, it is then that you're able to begin to dissect what it is that is really beneath the surface so that we can pull those roots, pull those weeds rather. Because what some people don't understand is that weeds don't need anything to grow. They're just going to grow automatically because they're weeds. But flowers, you have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate with how you nurture them, with how you treat them. So ultimately, being able to think about what are your limiting beliefs? Because again, it all goes back to mindset. What do you believe about yourself? What are you willing to adjust so that you can get to the next level, and not the next level of what your parents think, what your spouse think, but the next level that really aligns with your true authentic self?
So if somebody has this negative beliefs about themselves, and I would imagine a lot of people do, I mean, you think all the negative stuff, but it's like I was interviewing somebody and he said something negative. He goes, I gotta not say that. I'm like, so how does one train themselves not to be in that negative mindset?
Yes, that's a great question. It's really a consistent thing. It's not a one, it's first of all, it's not a one size fit all. And then it's also not something you do today and you never do again. Being able to train yourself, this is consistent work. This is something that you do Monday through Sunday. And in addition to that, it really starts with being able to trust yourself again. So many times people have experienced situations where their safety has been compromised. The level of trust they have within themselves have been compromised. And because of that, they're not that they're not able to, but they don't believe that they can, and they really can. So it starts with being able to, number 1, set small goals or tasks and do it. Even if it's like something as simple as I'm gonna do laundry today, because the more you set these goals and achieve them, the more you let yourself know that you can trust yourself. See, sometimes people are not able, or they're reluctant to do the small things that rebuilds trust back in self. So if you begin to rebuild trust back in yourself, speak kindly to yourself. It's very important that you speak kindly to yourself at all times. And in addition to that, being able to surround yourself with people who see you. Because a lot of times we're connected to people because of proximity, we're connected to people based on title, but that doesn't mean that person is promoting your growth. It doesn't mean that person sees you for who you're becoming versus who you were.
Yeah. Sometimes people come into your life, what's the saying? For a reason or a season? Yes. I've mastered that one now. It's like, yeah, that was great. I learned a lesson from you. Next. Like, you're not good for me. Go away.
Understand, understand.
Right? Yeah. So you spoke when I heard you speak about stepping stones are stepping stones. They're not a setback. Can you share a moment in your life when maybe that stepping stone not a setback and how it helped you move forward?
Yes, wow. That's a powerful question. So yes, what I stated was that, like you said, stepping stones are not a setback. They're actually building blocks to help us get to the next level. And as I reflect, on my own life, I want to even written down to the book that I wrote, Breaking the Silence, How to Rise. I was actually prepared, or at least I thought I was, to write a book when I was 14. And I journaled, and I had several journals of what I thought I wanted to talk about. And with life happening, graduating, becoming a mother, losing a job, gaining a job, moving out of the city, all of these different things that felt like they're getting in my way of me being able to write the book. And the reality was, even though they felt like stones that were in my way, they were really helping me build character in myself. They were really helping me to better understand the amount of detail I wanted to put in the book. It gave me more time to gain life experience, to go through more things in life so that I not only write a book, but I write a healing guide. So where I thought that all of these barriers were trying to hold me back, they really were building me up because the goal wasn't to write a book. The goal was to create a movement.
W Okay. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes. So in regard to the book Breaking the Silence, How to Rise, originally my goal was to write a book. I want to write a book. I want to get my story out there. And the more I develop myself, again, sitting in stillness, understanding what impact me, what I can let go, what my truth is, it turned into something I want and I foresee it being a movement. So this book is one of other components we're working on because we understand the power of healing. The book is my story, but it's our story. It's designed to be universal to help people navigate through the healing journey. There's other pieces to it that will be in a process of being pushed out as well, journals, art books, affirmation cards, because we understand that reading a book is one thing, but we want people to have the tools to put what they read into practice, to have actionable steps to what to do, to know how to go beyond reading the book in the journal so that their healing is a process and it doesn't just end at the last page of the book.
Do you use affirmation cards and things like that in your life?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I'm very big on saying my own affirmations, developing my own affirmations, which is what I did in my books as well as with the cards that are in process, because it's important that you speak to yourself.
No.
You have
Yeah.
to speak to your reflection. So I could have an affirmation and it not resonate with you, but that affirmation deeply resonates with myself. So I think that it's important to select words and language that really move self, that really speak to your inner child, that speaks to your current self, as well as the person you're becoming.
You wrote The Power of Perseverance. What's the message of hope in that book?
So, yes, I'm actually one of the co authors in that book. I wrote chapter 6. And the message in that book is to help people master their mind because if not, the mind will master them. And my emphasis and focus of that chapter was mental health. Mental health is definitely something that is very meaningful to me. It's something that I advocate for. And it's something that I feel is overlooked and people don't talk about, especially individuals who are in positions of authority, who are a part of the upper echelon. They shy away from it. It's kinda like you don't get the opportunity to struggle. You don't get the opportunity to acknowledge that there's an area of vulnerability. So I wanted to shine a light on mental health, but in a way where it wasn't presenting or getting a diagnosis, but more so letting the reader know, "I see you. I understand where you are, and here are some tools as well that you can incorporate to help you on your journey."
I think we all probably experience, I can't imagine anyone going through life and not experience some sort of pain or something from their past. But I've always said it doesn't have to, in my book that I wrote, it was like, it doesn't define you. And
Mm.
that's just a common thing that people say, well, it doesn't have to define you. You do have to figure out in your own mindset how to use that to propel and move forward, take the lesson and move on. So you always said, or I don't know about you always said, but you did say in your speaking that your pain has purpose. So
Oh,
how does someone begin to figure out what's that purpose?
Yes, ooh, I felt that when you said that. Yes, I definitely believe that pain has purpose, and the unfortunate side is that everyone may not see it in that manner. And when for myself, and I think about my life and the traumatic experiences that I've had dating back to when I was 1 years old and coming over into adulthood, I blamed people. I blamed people for not showing up a certain way, for not supporting me in a certain way. And it wasn't until my adult years where I was able to look myself in the mirror and apologize to myself. Number 1, because 'cause I've been robbing myself out of being present. I've been robbing myself out of being happy, and I've been blaming others when, though the situations I went through wasn't my fault, the resolution, the outcome, it is my duty to ensure that I rise above it, to ensure that I am better than what I did not receive or whatever it is that I did receive. And mindset is everything. I've undergone a lot of different things in my life. I made the decision that I was not going to allow my past to define me, and not based on words, but based on actions. I worked on my self-esteem. I worked on my confidence. I went to therapy throughout the years to when I felt like I needed it to unpack things that the average person did not have the expertise to assist with, to have that unbiased person, listen and provide tools and strategies and things of that nature. I deeply in my heart made the decision that I'm going to be happy that everything I endured, no matter how traumatic I may define it, that God chose me as the individual to go through that. And the God that we serve, that I serve, is never going to give me as hard as it may seem. God is never going to burden my soul with more than I can carry. So I realized that I was the perfect person to endure everything I went through because who I stand as today. This my story could have broke someone else, but I stand here solidly. I stand here and I can say, I forgive the people who hurt me. I stand here and say, I know there's much more to me than who I am right now, and I'm going to achieve that. I have not had any mental breakdowns. Of course, I've cried, I've felt wheeze. I haven't been hospitalized. I haven't been suicidal. I have not done certain things that people who endured what I went through have done. And I'm grateful for that. And that lets me know that there is so much more for me to do because of who I stand as today. So, to just go back to your original question, the individual has to decide that no matter what I've endured, this will not define me, and there's things that I'm going to do consistently so that I don't backslide, because this is not just me sitting here every day. There's when I'm off this podcast, there's gonna be some things that I do, to keep the momentum because it's not a one-stop shop. This is constant work and consistency that you have to be deliberate with pouring into yourself.
No, that's beautifully said, beautifully. Wow. It had me in some deep thinking about some things that have happened in my past, and it was like, and my mom telling me, "You are a strong woman, Zelda. You will overcome." And I did. It's like, "You are strong, Andrea. You will overcome." You did. You are. So you said when you were speaking that silence keeps you in prison.
Mm,
So what was that moment like for you when you decided to break your own silence?
wow. When I decided to break my own silence, it was life-changing. It was life-changing. It definitely there was a period where it was difficult because I'm a caring person, I care about people, so I thought about when I present this information, how would it impact this individual? How would this person feel? But then I had to go back to how I feel, how I've been imprisoned all of these years by carrying a weight that wasn't mine to carry. So when I decided to say, "I have to get this out," and I have to get this out in the form of a book. That was my mission, to get it out in the form of a book, to get it out in a way that's meaningful. It was life-changing for me. It really was, and I couldn't think about the impact that it would have on the person or persons who caused me harm, because I know that writing the book is my truth. I know that I spoke my truth to the best of my ability, and it's okay. It's not a matter if someone agrees or disagrees, as long as you know that you're presenting your information with as most much validity as you can, and that you're coming from a place of love, that you have consulted with the higher power, whatever that is for you religiously or spiritually, there's no way that you can make a mistake. So
That
it was liberating. It was a declaration. It was giving voice to the voiceless. It was speaking the unspoken. And I wish I would have done it sooner, but I understand divine timing is everything and it's never late.
that's true. So what advice would you have for some other people who maybe they're afraid to share their story and their truths?
The advice that I would give is to be kind to yourself, to be gentle with your process, because no one's process is the same, even if they've gone through a very similar situation. And if you do not have someone that you are comfortable talking to, journal it out. I still journal every day because it allows you the space to be real and raw. It's uninterrupted and it's a sacred space. So I would recommend that you journal it out, get it out of your system because the body keeps score and you don't want to make yourself sick by carrying the weight of things that no longer serve you. You deserve happiness and peace.
That's beautifully said. You also have said when talking that no is a complete sentence. I love that. It is such a complete sentence. Can you tell us how did you learn to use that word as a form of self-care? And tell me a little bit about how you discovered that. It's like that was taught to me so long ago. It's like no, and then you just be quiet. That's the end of the sentence. No, I love that. So when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, she gets it.
Yes, absolutely. So during my period again, sitting in stillness throughout the years and really beginning to dissect myself. I had a period where I lost 2 close friends and not lost to unalived, but just the relationship ended.
Okay.
And it was something that really impacted me. It impacted the way I trust, it impacted the way I viewed the relationship. I questioned whether or not we were friends, and I'm not pointing fault in any way. But what that period did, it forced me to be alone. It forced me to sit with myself. It forced me to dissect who am I without the friends, without the kids, without the title. Who am I? And as I went through this process, and it was years, I started to realize and that a lot of things I did was for approval, was for validation, was to be liked. And of course, in that moment, it didn't seem like it, but as I reviewed my life and the patterns, it was a harsh reality to say, "Oh, you've done that to be liked. You've done that to prevent rejection. You did that to be validated." And I made a promise to myself, right, that I'm no longer gonna overextend myself. There was a conversation that I had with my husband, and he stated to me, "You're so kind," and he was giving me all of these accolades. And when I turned around, I was in tears. And he said, "Why are you crying?" And my response was, "This is exactly why I've been sad all of these years." Because we as people, we take the shirt off our back and give it to people.
Yes.
You may not have another shirt on underneath. So I made a vow to myself that I will not overextend myself. I will not take the shirt off my back to give it to
Let's
anyone or
renew.
reject under it. And with that, no is a complete sentence. It does not require an explanation. No protects your energy. It preserves your peace. And as I teach my clients with coaching, no can always be turned into a yes.
Absolutely. It's like when you're in sales. No, well, maybe you just haven't hit the right nerve yet. You keep going back till you get the yes. But I can so relate to what you're saying with the friendships because I had that experience actually rather recently. Somebody who I thought was a friend and I shared and shared until I realized, wait a minute, there's something not right in this relationship. It was give the shirt off my back. But then I had to sit back and think, after some incidents happened, I'm thinking, what's wrong with this relationship? And I said, okay, maybe it was for a reason, it was for a season,
Mm,
but it's done. I'm over it. And
right.
it hurt for a long time, to be honest. It hurts because this is somebody who you loved as a friend and as a dear friend. And then you realize that there were some things that were missing. And that was
Mhm.
like, it has to be a two-way street. And so when I finally realized it wasn't, I cut it off.
And that's okay. And even with saying no, It's necessary because no reveals a lot.
Yep.
No reveals how people really feel about you,
Yeah.
about the relationship, about the way they show up. And one of the things I noticed about no is that people find a way. Someone else is gonna help them. Someone else is gonna be there for them.
Yeah,
So it is okay
exactly.
to say no. Mhm.
Now you talk about I remembered I may get this a little wrong. I remembered you talking about taking care of your body, so you go to the gym, but you're not going necessarily for the workout for your body always, it's also for your mind. Tell me a little bit about how that helps your mental workouts when you go to the gym. Because boy, I need to go to the gym.
Yes, yes. So absolutely. I went to the gym was for my it is for my mind. And the gym was something that became a sanctuary for me. It's not something that I really like to do, to
Oh,
be honest.
nobody does.
But when I get there and I start the workout, I leave, with my shoulders,
Oh,
my head held a little higher.
mhm,
And it's really not about the workout. It's about me proving to myself that I did something I didn't feel like doing and that I did it to the best of my capacity. Going to the gym and being able to go one more rep, one more sit up, one more whatever machine I'm working on, just one more proves to myself that I could do anything. Because even though this is physical, working the muscles, the mind is a muscle.
yes.
So this is the way that I exercise my mental muscle and keep my mental diet clean by going to the gym and sweating it out and feeling the burn and feeling motivated and being proud of myself for showing up for myself, especially on the days where I don't want to. And that goes back, it's like a tree that extends to so many branches because number one, the confidence builds back in yourself.
Yeah,
Okay, you will have some physical, whether you're trying to or not, you're gonna have some physical results from that. You leave feeling better. It makes you more conscious of your diet, what you put in your body for some people, and you rebuild that trust within yourself because you're like, "I didn't even wanna come, but I'm here. I
absolutely.
didn't feel like it, but I showed up." So it's a dual effect for me, and again, it just allows me to reset to say, "You can do anything. You want one more rep. You felt the burn and you didn't give up." I love that. The
I
gym
would
has
even go further, Andrea, and say and it's okay to turn on YouTube at your own home and do some exercises with a YouTube video. I know for me, going to the gym is a big chore, and I started watching YouTubes, and then you can scroll through, what is it, TikTok or whatever it is, and you can find it. And so I try very hard. I'm not always great about it, but I always say, get up off this couch, Zelda, and do some leg exercises or something. You're getting older and you don't want to lose your balance and things. So I force myself, and I'll tell you, it's like, you come on, it's in your own home. How lazy can you be? So but I do. I get up and I do it, and then I feel so much better for having done whatever it is I've done. I feel like I've accomplished something because I did force myself to do some exercises in my own home and force myself to do them, and I feel better.
I love that. I love that. And one of the things that I learned within this process of just becoming more self-aware, of mastering your mind, is you have to make things attractive. So many times we want change, we want safety, but we don't want to change because we're safe. And you have to make things attractive. So what do I mean by that? Journaling, for example, I'll give you an example of journaling. Journaling is something that I typically do every day, sometimes more than once a day. And what I do is I keep my journal literally on my nightstand or on the side of my bed, which is right there. So literally I can reach my arm and grab my journal. That's making it attractive. The journal is not across the room. The journal is not downstairs on my desk. It's literally right there. So when I get up in the morning and I do my prayer, I do my affirmation, it's just a reach to grab the journal. So there's no reason why I can't do it because I've made it attractive.
Mhm.
My book, the book that I'm reading, whatever book that I choose to read for that week, that day, that book is also there because now I make it attractive. You have to make things attractive so that it doesn't take you out of your way or it's not going to, overextend you. Like, there's a market around the corner from where I live and there's the one further that I can drive to, but if I need minor things, I'll walk to the market because not only am I getting what I need in the house, I'm also getting out in nature, being able to be present, and I'm getting exercise. So it's
Yep.
about how can I make this attractive without overextending myself And then that leads to rebuilding trust, rebuilding confidence, and consistency and commitment as well.
That's great. It's like, make it attractive, yeah. And when yeah, that's a great one. So, if we could leave our listeners with one daily practice to strengthen their resilience and maybe
Mhm.
their peace of mind, what would that one piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would be take a deep breath. Your breath is always with you. It helps to slow down your process. It helps to reset you and it helps you to think from a place of being rational. It allows you to respond versus react.
Yeah,
So I would say be consistent with taking deep breaths
deep breath.
and not just in the moment throughout the day because it becomes systematic and you'll find yourself doing it consistently and it will really help you ground yourself and get back to the reality so that you're making decisions based on facts and not feelings.
That's some brilliant advice. I have a friend who talks about breathing exercises, and whenever I'm stressed or whatever, I calm myself down by doing her little breathing exercise, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, and it's just calming. It's like, okay, now I can deal with it. So tell us how our audience can connect with you. How can they get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you?
Yes, if anyone wants to reach out to me, they can reach out to me via my website. My website is I am Drade Lawrence.com. And or they can reach me via email and it's I am Dre Lawrence at gmail.com.
And I'll be sure we put that in our show notes for you. Now, I have one final question I ask everyone, my signature question. So I'm going to ask you that question. So so has there ever been an opportunity that you can share with us that presented itself to you because of a connection that you had or that you were able to present an opportunity to someone else because of that connection of a connection?
Okay, so yes, I met a young lady and she talked to me about motivational speeches. And she said when she was going through a hard time, she would listen to the legendary Les Brown. And it's probably the age gap between me being 39 and him being 80 that I honestly never heard of him before.
Right. Oh,
And
I hear that all the time.
I never heard of him, and I literally started listening to his speeches every day, and I was, like, floored, like, "Who's this person? I gotta meet him, I wanna meet him, I wanna get on stage with him," and I was able to sign up for one of his programs, and I just kept saying, like, "God, I'm gonna meet him, I'm gonna be on stage with him one day, I'm gonna meet him," and that led to an opportunity for me to do one-on-one mentoring with him, which I literally just talked to him earlier today, he's hilarious. It led to an opportunity for me to do one-on-one mentoring with him, which has been very rewarding. He's a joy to work with. And then that transitioned over to the opportunity for me to be a co-author in a book with him. He actually also wrote the foreword for my book, Breaking the Silence: How to Rise. It's just been amazing. I believe that manifestation is very real. You have to see it. If you cannot see it, you can't achieve it. I
Right.
saw myself on stage with Les Brown and keeping in mind all of this happened in less than a year. All of this stuff literally happened in less than a year, but from the moment I started listening to him, I said, "I'm going to meet him. I'm gonna meet him, and I'm gonna be on stage with them." And when those things happened, it was definitely a breath of fresh air, but it was a part of me that was like, "I know, because the God I serve, he's going to give you the things that you deeply desire, especially when you're willing to put in the work." And it's been such a joy. Like, when he calls my phone sometimes, I'm still like, "Oh my God, Les Brown is calling me." But it's been amazing for sure.
That is so wonderful. That is a great story. I love it. Heard several stories. It sounds like a very giving man. I've been following him for a long time, but you're right. When I mention him to my kids and younger people, they're like, "Who is he?" And so then I tell them, and then they start watching him, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, how did I miss him?" So thank you so much for your time today, Andrea. And I just want to remind our audience to hit the subscribe button, subscribe to this podcast, Success Through Connections. And remember that success does not happen in isolation. It happens because of the connections that you have. Connections are today's currency, and connections are today's power moves. So keep on connecting. And I'm Zelda with Success Through Connections. I'll see you next week with a new episode.